Your Excellency, the Governor of Bayelsa State, Honorable Seriake Dickson, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of the State, Your Excellency, the Governor, may I, with your kind permission, stand on the already established protocol. Your Excellency, the violence, mayhem, and breach of peace which occurred in parts of Bayelsa State before, during, and after the presidential and National Assembly elections. Your Excellency, this commission is established pursuant to the Commission of Enquiry Law of Bayelsa State. And with your kind permission also, may I kindly call on Honorable Justice Enquiry Eradiri, Chairman of the Commission, to please kindly step forward. My Lord.
I, the Honorable Mr. Justice Enquiry Eradiri, as Chairman of this Commission, do solemnly swear that I will discharge my duties and perform my functions honestly, impartially, to the best of my ability, and faithfully in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law. That I will not allow my personal interest to influence my official conduct or my official decisions. That I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God.
Honorable Justice Enquiry Eradiri has taken his oath, and the members will be doing theirs shortly. This is a very important commission of inquiry, as it involves lives and property of Bayelsans.
Your Excellency, may I, with your kind permission, call on Chief Mrs. Cecilia Olisabi, DCP retired, Deputy Commissioner of Police retired, Member of the Commission, Archbishop Jacob Apiri, Member of the Commission, and Dr. Richard Ogbe, Member of the Commission, to please step forward.
As a member of this commission, do solemnly swear, affirm that I will discharge my duties and perform my function honestly, impartially, to the best of my ability, and faithfully in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law, that I will not allow my personal interest to influence my official conduct or my official decision, that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God.
DCP Felicia Olisa retired, receiving a handshake from His Excellency as she is sworn in as a member of the Commission of Inquiry. And next we have Archbishop Jacob Apiri as a member, who is also the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN. Now receiving a handshake from His Excellency, the Governor of Bayelsa State, And next we have Dr. Richard Ogbe, who is now in front of His Excellency. And Dr. Richard Ogbe has received his handshake.
Representing our Lordship, the Honorable the Chief Judge of our state, the Secretary to Government, can see the Majority Leader of the House, members of the State Executive Councils, senior government appointees who are here, my Lord, the Chairman of this Commission of Inquiry, and distinguished honorable members and the Council to this Commission. I would like to formally read the instrument constituting this Judicial Commission of Inquiry, and then I make a few comments. This is an instrument constituting a Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the violence, mayhem, and breach of peace in parts of our state, which occurred before, during, and after the Presidential and National Assembly elections held on the 23rd of February 2019. That is before and during and after the Presidential and National Assembly elections. Whereas there were reports of coordinated acts of violence, brigandage, and breakdown of law and order, mayhem constituting breach of the peace in parts of our state, and some areas more affected than others, like Nembe, Basambri, Brass, Tuon, Fangbe, Agbere community, and communities constituting what they call Constituency 4 in southern Niger, and a few other areas. But our mandate covers all the areas that these kinds of activities occur, as will be revealed in the various reports and the memoranda that you will receive from the public. Whereas these reports included incidents that affected persons and properties in parts of our state, as I've earlier mentioned, in some cases occasioning the loss of lives. Whereas it is the obligation of the government of this state to protect the lives and properties of all of our citizens and residents, and we also have a duty to investigate and properly document these incidents, and as much as possible try to bring perpetrators to book in accordance with the laws of our state and the laws of our country. Now, therefore, by virtue of the powers conferred upon me by Section 2.1 of the Commission of Inquiry Law, Cap. C8, Laws of Bayelsa State, and in exercise of all other powers enabling me in that behalf, I, as Governor of this state, hereby constitute and appoint this Commission of Inquiry, hereinafter called the Commission, to inquire into reports of violence, mayhem, brigandage, and breach of the peace, occasioning destruction of properties and loss of lives in parts of our state, which occurred before, during, and after the Presidential and National Assembly elections held on the 23rd of February 2019. And for this purpose, I hereby appoint, let me congratulate you all and thank you all profusely for accepting to serve this very important commission. I hereby appoint the Honorable Justice Inika Eradiri as chairman of this commission. I also appoint the following as members: retired Deputy Commissioner of Police Felicia Olisa, retired, retired CSP, Churchere Komunibo, Archbishop Jacob Enquiry, the chairman of the State Council, the State Christian Association of Nigeria. Dr. Richard Ogbe will serve as secretary member. And you are to hold with full powers and authority to hold public hearings and to exercise the powers conferred on you by Section 7 of the said law. I hereby also appoint Professor O.F. Emiri to act as counsel to this commission. The commission may, where it considers it expedient, hold private hearings. Your terms of reference are as follows. Number 1, to determine the number and identities of persons that were injured or killed, if any, during the violence, mayhem, and breach of the peace which occurred in parts of our state before, during, and after the Presidential and National Assembly elections held on the 23rd of February 2019. You are also to determine the extent of damage to properties, if any, during the said incidents. You are to identify the remote and immediate causes of the said mayhem, brigandage, and violence that occurred in some parts of our communities in the state. You are to identify the perpetrators, sponsors of the said violence leading to the deaths and destruction to properties of the people of our state and breakdown of peace in the aforementioned communities. You are to determine the roles played by security agencies and their officers and men in these said incidents, and specifically identify the officers and men that were involved. You will help us also to recommend measures that could have prevented or ameliorated the crisis or the breakdown of law and order in these communities. And also identify the institutions and persons that could have prevented this from happening. You are to make any other recommendations as the Commission may deem fit in the circumstances. Commission shall take such evidence as would enable you perform your task hereby conferred on you. And I hereby direct that the Commission shall submit its report and findings together with such recommendations, if any, as you may deem fit, to me not later than 14 days from the date of your first sitting, or within such period as I may from time to time in writing extend. And I give this under my hand today, 27th of February 2019, and this is signed by me. So I hereby constitute you to perform the aforesaid functions and duties. Congratulations and thank you for making yourselves available. You may be seated. You may be seated. Now, having said this, having done the formal part, I would like to use this opportunity to also state a few facts. I want to use this opportunity to commiserate once again with our people, the families and friends of those who lost their lives. This evening I shall be visiting Chief A.A. Taribi, whose son was ruthlessly shot, killed by soldiers in cold blood. Wasn't fighting with anybody. In his house, with his friend. The only reason we can surmise is that they were PDP supporters and stalwarts. I want to also use this opportunity to commiserate with all other persons who lost their lives and those who also lost valuable properties destroyed. And I want to commend the majority of our people who conducted themselves peacefully during these elections. In most parts of our state, the elections never resulted in any violence or crisis. Our people, in furtherance of the message of peace and tolerance and peaceful coexistence that we have been preaching, conducted themselves fairly well. In most parts of our state, in some local government areas, including communities that have not voted peacefully for a long time, they did so this period. I want to commend once again the people of the Enquiry community for the first time lined up and voted in peace. I want to commend also the people of Tuon, the Brass Island, where they actually conducted themselves peacefully, political differences aside, fostered agreements where they could on how to maintain peace and law and order. And I thank and appreciate the contributions of our traditional rulers and royal fathers who, in most cases, also stimulated these peace dialogues. But having said that, we're all aware of what happened in this state. In Nembe, Basambri, and later, when people wanted to force the collation of results that never existed, to accept votes that were never cast, that were just conjured, then they created crisis in Tuon. But the full details will be revealed when we get the findings and the recommendations of this panel. And so generally our people conducted themselves peacefully, and I want to thank all our states for that. I know that the state is in a very sad mood, and generally speaking, I'm told that that reflects the national mood. We're in very trying times in our state and in our country. But I want to use this opportunity to urge for peace. I know that people are aggrieved because impostors, people that they never gave any mandate to, have been announced as if they were elected. Votes allocated to persons who the people of the state never gave their mandates to. I know how this can be annoying, and knowing the involvement of the military officers and men, I know that a number of you have called me to express your disappointment and sadness. But I want to use this opportunity to urge you not to take the laws into your hands. Two wrongs do not make a right. And knowing how I've managed the attempts to make this place ungovernable, this state ungovernable since 2015 by these same characters, I want to remind you all that the God of justice shall arise, and this darkness and evil and temptation will not last for too long. The charade in Nembe Basambri shall not stand. The charade in the constituency 4 of southern Niger will not stand. And the invasion, very provocative invasion of our peace-loving people by our own military, will continue to condemn it. And I also urge you all to realize that that too will come and pass. We're passing through a very trying phase. And I call on community leaders and all opinion and political leaders of all persuasions to try their utmost to urge for tolerance, and that the processes of the laws of our country and of our state should be followed. I want to commend our youth especially for restraining themselves, and I urge you to continue to do so. Once again, I remind you that this injustice visited on our state, where people turned our state into a military garrison and conducted a military exercise in the image and likeness of an election, it will not stand. But the Commission of Enquiry is not to go into the elections. Let me clarify that. It is to go into the issues leading to the breakdown of law and order. The other avenues are there, and we shall explore them. I want to call on all of you who saw what happened in Nembe Basambri, who saw what happened, who have video clips, who have recordings, who know of the conspiracies, who know of the participants, to forward your reports and complaints to this Commission of Enquiry. Community leaders in the affected areas, leaders of opinion in the affected communities, feel free. Observers, those who saw and felt what happened, forward your complaints and observations to the Commission of Enquiry. And I trust you, this panel has been carefully chosen. They are not politicians. They are not, none of them is political. They will dispassionately listen to you and reduce the observations and your feelings on oath, and compile it, and then we take it up from there. I urge the electoral officials, a number of them who were held hostage and who were forced at gunpoint to make declarations, even to thumbprint. People did not come to vote. Electoral officials, innocent young men and women who were performing a national duty, were surrounded, commandeered by military men, firing, forcing them to thumbprint and to make results, announce results that never existed. A number of them, a number of you have since had the courage to speak up, and I want to thank and appreciate all of you. And I assure you that this Commission of Enquiry is open for you to utilize. Come and tell your stories. At least the Commission of Enquiry will listen to you, record your evidence, and for you to state your own side for posterity. You never can tell. What history teaches is that injustice and bad behavior does not last forever. Injustice does not last forever. And those officers in the military and security forces who, in violation of their codes of conduct, did all these terrible things and got even more involved than the politicians, were themselves conducting elections, were themselves snatching ballot papers, were themselves forcing people to write results. All their names and identities will be exposed. But let me also commend the ordinary hardworking and law-abiding, diligent, courageous, and dutiful officers and men in uniform, a number of them who did their jobs with honor and creditably, keeping the peace in our communities and in our state. This commission is meant to unravel all these developments so that we can, as a people, learn our lessons from it, and our government will be prepared. We shall waste no time in prosecuting, at the end of this commission's findings, all those who are identified. Officers who are identified shall be reported to their commanding officers. At least it will be put in writing that this state has recorded, taking account of their inglorious activities in our state, and we shall not let it pass unnoticed. This morning, I've already signed a letter to the Chief of Army Staff complaining of the criminal activities perpetrated by a certain Lieutenant Salisu in Nembe, Basambri, and Major Modibo in Brass. I've already done that. But as this Commission of Enquiry progresses, more names shall be revealed of all those who contributed, who commanded these operations. What happened in Nembe was a coordinated military attack. What happened in Brass, leading to the kidnapping, leading to the manhandling and the mistreatment of a deputy commissioner of police, performing his lawful duties, carrying out the instructions of the state commissioner of police. And his crime was that he never yielded to the illegality that was going on. All those will be unraveled in the course of this commission of inquiry. I want to urge the people of our state to continue to keep the peace. I urge traditional rulers and paramount rulers of our communities, youth leaders, political leaders, do not yield to terrorism. Well, what happened was terrorism. But also, the fact that they have done what they have done, I know it is tempting, but I want to call all of you not to join issues with them. Don't meet violence with violence, especially in the next round of elections coming up. Finally, I urge all of us to continue to pray. Pray for peace, pray for prosperity for our state and our country, and pray that people who have a duty, important assignments to perform, should have the courage to do what is right at all times. Thank you all for coming, and once again, my Lord, Chairman and members, I thank you all for accepting this assignment, and may God guide and bless all of you. May God bless Bayelsa State. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.